Right then, this is a quick road test video, and this is for a Honda CR-V. It's a 1.6 SE diesel. This particular car is registered BL65UYE, and mileage currently showing is 80,735 miles. The reason we do all of these videos is very simple indeed, actually. It's because we want anyone that's looking at any of our cars online to actually see those very cars in operation. And the reason we feel it's important is because we know to our cost, unfortunately, just how frustrating it can be to go and see a car which can look perfectly good in the description and in the photographs provided, only to get there and find out when you're driving it it's got a fundamental issue or warning light or something, which may have prevented you going to see the car in the first place. So that's why we do it. It's also done on part of the road test route any prospective buyer would go on, should they be offered a test drive in the car. And the reason for that is very simple, is that we want it to be representative of what you would feel yourself should you be offered a test drive in the car. Worth pointing out, these are lovely quiet country roads, generally makes for a nice relaxing test drive, and as much as we are seemingly in the middle of nowhere, we're actually only a couple of minutes off the motorway. It's ever so easy to get to. So coming to the car in question, it's been serviced all the way through by Honda. Without being a complete spoiler, I could be driving the car with 10,000 miles on the clock. It just feels absolutely as tight as a drum in every single way. They are brilliantly engineered cars. Engine starts absolutely instantly, of course, and settles to a smooth, even idle. There are no warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other part of the car. Temperature gauge running as a third, which is exactly where it's meant to be on a Honda vehicle, by the way. But the engine is simply brilliant. It's very smooth and very quiet in operation. The only time you realistically know it's a diesel is at low revs, which you're going to get in any car, sort of first and second gear. But on the move, you could be driving in a particularly gutsy petrol engine car because you're just in fourth gear now, uphill, put your foot down and things up and going. It's a brilliant unit, and don't think because it's only a 1.6 it's not man enough for the car. Quite the opposite. It really has a verve to the way the car drives. Being a Honda, of course, it's reliable, it's durable, probably more reliable and more durable than anything else in its class by quite a long way, actually. And they have got an amazing reputation for reliability. But also, almost more importantly, the way the car drives day in, day out, the engine, is because it's so flexible, it's so nice to use, but because it's so quiet and refined, it doesn't grate, it doesn't annoy you, in the way some engines do. And its real world economy, as I often refer to it, is extraordinary. I've had a few of these, and without trying that hard, I can get over 50 to the gallon out of them, and not driving over cautiously either. I know a lot of people get a lot more, and I know a lot of people get a lot less, but it's how you drive them, where you drive them, that kind of thing. But they are particularly efficient engines. Engine then feeds through clutch and into gearbox. Clutch in the car absolutely perfect. Bite point's exactly where it's meant to be, and it's nice and smooth in the actuation as well. The gearbox is absolutely sensational. So it's got this what they call it, DASP pack. So if you go to cross a line and you haven't indicated, it recognises it and will beep at you. So if I sort of go across, it tells me what I'm doing. So you can see it's all functioning. Very, very nice to have in the car, actually. But the gearbox, as I said, simply brilliant. The quality of gear change, the actuation of the gears, the synchro mesh, the selection is brilliant. Your elbow sits on the rest here, hand sits on the gear lever. It's the perfect height. Honda put an enormous amount of thought and effort into these things, whereas other manufacturers just throw a gear lever in, you've got to waft it about, and occasionally you might select a gear. But this is a brilliant gearbox, regardless of the type of car it is, because it could happily go in one of the more more sporty Honda versions. So, you know, it really is a wonderful, wonderful gear change. I'm just going to swing around here, and I can feel zero wear in it, by the way, absolutely nothing at all. Steering on the car, this generation, they've done a really good job. It's got electric power steering, as most modern cars are these days, but unlike so many, it actually feels nice and weighty on the road. It's very positive, very accurate, tracks absolutely dead straight. There's no vibrations that come back to the steering wheel at this speed, or any speed up to the legal limit, but a lovely setup. And in conjunction with the chassis, because, you know, going through these corners here, I'll go a little bit quicker than I would do ordinarily. And bear in mind, I'm in an SUV. The body control is absolutely brilliant on the car. It really, really is. It basically means you don't get the kind of porpoising and bouncing they get with so many cars, and passengers don't get that kind of nauseating motion going on. So it gives the best in my world of all worlds. You know, they're a very comfortable, compliant ride, but brilliant, brilliant body control for this type of vehicle. What I'm also listening for whilst I'm on the move, by the way, is any kind of knocks or rattles from underneath the car that shouldn't be there, of which there's nothing at all. Although worth pointing out, it'll be going for an independent MOT hopefully this time tomorrow, so all these things will be checked. Brakes on the car, just give them a really hard shove. Really, really lovely brake pedal on the vehicle, solid, powerful, no vibrations or pulsing through the brake pedal at all, so all in fine fettle there. Coming inside the vehicle, you know, nearly always the case with the CR-Vs, absolutely beautifully put together cars. Not a hint of a squeak or a rattle from the interior of the car. And, you know, we're talking a car that's done 80,000 miles now. And it puts to shame so many of the so-called luxury premium brands that can feel well put together when they're new, but unfortunately after a few years, you know, the things rub off the switches, you get creaks and groans, and I've driven enough of them, you know, which we've taken as part exchange to know, and it's always surprised me, because they've always historically been well built, but just don't seem quite as sturdy as they used to be. But this is brilliantly put together, and is also fantastically easy to operate. This one, SE Navigator model, so it has the optional sat-nav system fitted, as well as the the driver safety pack. So you get this big screen sat-nav out of the top of the range EX version, all working perfectly, really simple and easy to use. And it also means you get the big rear camera as well, and you can set that up and configure it as you like. Really nicely done. Then you got the dual zone climate control system, so you can have different temperatures side to side on the vehicle. We put it in a warm workshop earlier on, checked the air condition was blowing out cold, and it was absolutely perfect. The switchgear quality, I'm a bit obsessive about this sort of stuff. I love the fact that Honda, you just press them and they've got this satisfying kind of rubbery click action. It's beautifully damped, beautifully done. The tactile feel of all the controls they do, they try and make sure the controls you use most readily will be very sturdy and last hundreds of thousands of miles, but also be satisfying to operate, and it is brilliant in that sense. The dash in front of me is very simple, and the information is there. It's all you need and no more, and very nicely presented. Steering wheel, nice small diameter leather bound steering wheel. Obviously all the functions on it, so you've got your radio controls and information display up there, and then you've got your cruise control on this side, which works perfectly, by the way. Hands-free and further information display for the centre pod there. As I said at the start, the point of the video is just to pick up on any issues that might be on the car. There is nothing at all. This car, as I said, could easily be rolling off the production line. It feels absolutely as new to drive, and I hate saying that because it's a complete cliche, but it's absolutely true. As always though, if you've got any questions, don't hesitate. And I do apologise, by the way, because I've been doing some gardening this morning, so I've got my scruffy trousers on. So if it looks like I've got scruffy oily trousers on, it's because I have, and I forgot to put my others on. But there we go, doesn't alter the video.